Manchester Wood by gunsmith John Dowd in Goshen, Connecticut.
Beautiful Mount Equinox on that side, and into
So he died in March, and he was going to be buried. And they're lucky. Hey everybody, I'm Sean from the Manchester Historical Society. Welcome to another edition of Timestamp. We're here in Factory Point Cemetery in Manchester Center, Vermont, and we're going to talk a little bit about memorials. And it's going to follow these three stones: Mary Eddy, her husband Jeremiah Eddy, and their son James Eddy, 9 years old. There's a story here, and I want to tell it to you, so follow me. So we're walking along the Peru Turnpike, and this was a toll road. If you wanted to get from Manchester up over the mountain, you had to come along the Peru Turnpike, and there was a toll for that. And there was a toll gate where Mistral's is now, and you had to pay a little something to get up the road. 6 miles long, 143 water bars. Can you imagine, for 6 miles? And our little friend, James Eddy, he was along this road on a horse, on a mission. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute, because you got to keep following me. So by 1940, they needed to make this new bridge, and we just have to go through this tunnel. And I have a little bit more of the story to tell you when we get on the other side. Take the camera. So we're on the other side of the bridge, along where the turnpike originally ran. And back in 1840, young James was thrown from the horse while crossing the river, and he died. A tragedy, whether it was 1840 or whether it was today. And you know, we know this, it was covered in the newspapers. His family must have been a fairly prominent family because it was in the newspapers. And you know, his parents had the means to be able to mark the spot. This spot. But there's nothing here. Why? Well, they built a road. So things get moved around. So I want to show you one more thing. It's really cool. So follow me. Again, this is turning into quite the little adventure, I must say. So, I don't know how many of you people have noticed this, whizzing by at 55 miles an hour, but there's a stone here, encased in concrete. Well, what is it? Well, this stone was originally down by the river, and on it says, this is the place where James Eddy was killed by a fall from a horse, July 8th, 1840, aged 9 years. 180 years ago. 180 years ago. Sometimes, you know, you think about it, you know, we see all those stones in the cemetery. To me, this tells a story. And, you know, it started out down by the river, and thankfully when they made this road in the 40s, and it even got backed over by a dump truck and broke in half, in the Ormsby chapter of the DAR, they knew how important markers like this are. When you drive around, you see all kinds of markers along the side of the road, but you know, they made sure that this was encased in concrete and put here on the side. And you know what? No, not a lot of people do see this. Every once in a while, the Historical Society gets an inquiry. Hey, have you ever seen the marker on the ledge at the end of Tollgate? Yes, I have. And it's for James Eddy. So every stone has a story. And some stories have two stones, which is pretty cool. And speaking of stones and stories, there's one more just down here. I gotta show this to you, it's great. Job Dean served in the Continental Army under George Washington and spent that infamous winter at Valley Forge. But that's a story for another show. See you next time.